Good morning, Zio here, and let's complain about scalping and what happened to him because I find it to be somewhat, I don't know, I guess poetic justice or something. It's kind of funny, that sort of thing. Really, really don't like them. Anyway, grab yourself some coffee, sit back, relax, and let's get into it, shall we? And yeah, scalping is a huge business, by the way. Wow. Anyway, yeah, these groups have been snagging PS5s and Xbox Series X like they're going out of style, which really, not only does it suck in the fact that it's really hard to get a console, right? Because we have the same problem with the Switch. People were scalping the Switch, as soon as this pandemic pretty much became a major thing. People were just snagging Switches, especially here. The entire stock the second it comes in. They're pre-ordering it from the Walmarts, which is like the only location to go to, unless you travel out of town to one of the two cities. And they would just go in, get it, sell it on Facebook, whatever, at a huge markup. Because everybody was stuck indoors or, not traveling as much and all this other stuff because of said pandemic, right? And, we've got the same thing with the new consoles because people are going to want these new consoles. The problem is the thing I really, really hate about this, it's really hard to tell because of these scalpers, how well the consoles are actually doing. I don't know if anybody's really thought of this or whatnot, but if you look at the sales number, the consoles are doing phenomenally, right? They're doing amazing right now. The Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5, they're flying off the shelves. They can't keep them in stock. The only problem is when you've got something like this particular one group snagging 3,500 PlayStation 5 consoles, that's not 3,500 people buying the console. That's one group of I think this group has got, or they have 12 managers that they do have a ton of people working for it now. But anyway, that's not for the people who are buying it. It's for them to resell it at a ridiculous upmarked price, which we've looked at before, in the thousands of dollars for these consoles. But yeah, that's the only problem right there. And then, of course, the only real way to combat that is for everybody to collectively come together and say, do not purchase the systems. It's going to be hard to tell people to do that, but, if you want to stop scalping, that's how you stop scalping. You let them sit on these consoles for a very long time. You let them buy them up, and then we just do without a console for a year or something, and wait to see what happens to the market. At that point, because then eventually they will need to try and get rid of these things and try and recoup some of their losses because, the consoles aren't cheap to begin with, but they're not 15,000 or, 1,500 expensive either, right? Anyway, so, console, or this group is sniping consoles. They're sniping them left, right, and center. They have a nice little way of doing it, of course. But we can just look down here. They're all over the place bragging about how they've got these consoles to resell and stuff. But yeah, this particular group is Crep Chef Notify. It's made up of 12 staffers, and it charges a subscription for access to a service starting at $29.99, $40 US. And going to $530 if you're going to pay for its lifetime membership here, of course. But yeah, paying members get access to a variety of services intended to facilitate the purchase of highly sought-after products that can be resold, often for for handsome profits. Handsome profits. Anyway, what is this? Some kind of book? A 33-year-old manager named Tom who goes by the handle Kibbers. Is that how it said? Kibbers? Anyway, Kippers said that his group, with one of such groups, to see who can snag the most of, say, a new pair of Yeezys, whatever those are. I take that those are shoes that I don't know. Or the PlayStation 5. Anyway, there's more groups than just this particular one group, of course, and they are in competition with one another. It needs to end. It really does. You know, nobody's really... you talk to Best Buy and things like that, and they're like, oh yeah, we've got these systems in place, so, you know, you have to prove that you're a human, you can't bot it, but it still gets botted, right? There's no real major systems in place. And it's so out there in the open, you would think that PlayStation and Microsoft might actually try a little bit harder to prevent this thing from happening so actual customers can get their systems. But at the same time, they don't care because they've already made their profit, right? Which is why I said, if we want to tackle this, we have to collectively come together and not buy. Seriously, everybody has to just say nope to the next generation and wait. Eventually, you know, the prices will depreciate over time due to the fact that nobody's purchasing them, which will also stop them from purchasing them when they realize they can't sell what they've got on stock. But as long as they can sell it, or at least a portion of it, because let's say, let's say this: you buy, what is it? $599 is the price of the console. I can't really remember off the top of my head, so let's go with $500. How's that? We'll round down to a simple $500. $499, $500 for the new console. You buy 2 of those. That is $1,000 plus tax, of course. Depending on your tax, will depend on how that price changes, right? And then you take one of those new consoles and you sell it for $1,500. Okay, you still sell the $1,500 one. You've made at least close to a $500 profit on that, right? It's probably going to be around $300, $400, depending on taxes, of course. And then, of course, you know, yeah. Anyway, so you've already made yourself, you've recouped your losses and made, you know, a several $100 profit off of selling one of those consoles. You still have the other console, of course. Then when it sells, you've made even more. That's pure profit at that point. So they don't have to sell their entire stock when they're selling them at these prices. They just have to sell, you know, say a quarter of it or half of it. So if you've got, you snag 3,500, you know, consoles, you don't have to sell all 3,500, considering your markup price is double the actual price of the console. You just need to sell at least half of those, and you've already made a pretty good profit at that point. So if everyone collectively stops buying, maybe they would stop selling them and snagging them and all this other stuff. But I mean, they're blatantly obvious with it. They've got ads, you know, that they fling up like this here. You know, we're going to banking over, going to be bank. Anyway, advertisement for the thingy, right? You've got PlayStation here making their tweet, and they're just like, oh, yeah, sweet, great news. But here's the poetic justice part of it. Apparently, due to an issue in the systems, thousands of things have been canceled. And it's happening to legitimate players as well, legitimate gamers who are actually waiting for their console. It also has hurt them, but thousands of next-gen consoles that were placed by scalping groups were refunded as well. So that's the thing that happened. So I find that kind of funny. Maybe, you know, a lot of other people were able to get their orders in beforehand when their stuff got canceled, and maybe they didn't know about it because they weren't exactly monitoring the thing and think they already have, you know, the thousands of consoles they've pre-ordered again, you know, in the bank or whatnot, you know, in the bag. So maybe somebody else was able to get in and actually get their consoles. But I found that kind of funny that, you know, this particular article is talking about a UK retailer. I think there was one here in America as well, where they just straight up refunded everything. I think Amazon also had a problem. So, you know, don't quote me on that. I'm pretty sure I heard about it somewhere. I just can't remember exactly where it was. But, yeah. I find that to be kind of funny, is now that all that stuff got refunded, so they're not getting the consoles to resell it. So maybe some other fans, you know, gamers or whatnot, depending on which, doesn't matter which console you want, is actually going to be able to get their console, right? Anyway, let me know what you think about all this down in the comments below, and I will talk to you later. See ya!
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment, smash that like button, and always subscribe for more. And of course, there are other videos floating around somewhere on the screen, so click one of those and see if you can find something that suits your fancy. Till then, I'll see you later. Bye.